All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Real Stocks. Looking at stocks. Hey, Nighthawk. Good morning. We ended up Friday with kind of a support day on the Nasdaq. Kind of, kind of hard to call it that as well. Did bounce off of the lows, elevated volume, but I think that still would have gone down in the books as a distribution day. And I actually haven't checked IBD. We went to the Did a bunch of fun stuff on Saturday. We actually took a day trip up to the Grand Canyon. If you don't know, we're in Arizona, so about 3 hour drive, and a great time with the kids. So I didn't really get a big chance to do much over the weekend. That pretty much killed our Saturday, which is fine. That was the plan. Big picture was uptrend under pressure. Usually means one more distribution day. We're in a correction. So let's see what IBD did with that. Uptrend under pressure still. Ooh, that seems like a fail to me. A little more disappointment in IBD lately. I think you're like a minute by minute account. This isn't normal IBD stuff. Apple looked like a descending triangle on the daily, but now possible breakout. Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, recently here? Um, yeah, maybe. There's definitely a trend line component to it. Definitely could call it I'd probably just call it a descending triangle. There's less of a falling bottom line to it, but yeah, today does look like it's trying to escape that trend line. We were looking at Microsoft. Microsoft is actually in a base right now, in a flat base, looking pretty good, waiting for some confirmation on a breakout. Or a breakout. Had a failed breakout over here. Hey, what's up, Rob? You got stopped at a Starbucks on Friday? Oh, there we go. Yeah, it definitely took out that line lower. Yeah, it just couldn't get back, man. Just kept getting weaker and weaker. The That's why I listen to the market. I mean, even though all the fundamentals are still sound, I guarantee you it'll be a bigger company in one or 2 years or whatever. But today the price is going lower. Ride the train? No, I didn't ride the train, Rob. Is there a train? There's all kinds of stuff up there. I didn't get a great feel for the place via their website, to be honest with you. So, um, no, I got a 5 year old and an 8 year old. The 5 year old made it really hard. He wasn't listening to anything that we had to say. He was excited, but I don't think he even quite knew why, which is okay. Still had a fun time. Next time maybe we'll stay the night up there, but I think it's got to be a couple of years until James is old enough to really take in some stuff. Ethan did good. He's the 8 year old, but the 5 year old a little too young. And I'll look out for that train, Rob. I'll have to check that out. ZTO, top of our board today. Anik still holding up nice and strong. They do have a train up there for the winter time. It's like a Polar Express type of a thing, but it's about a year and a half waiting list to get on that. So we've been thinking about that. Maybe we'll try to get on that next year. That's probably a good idea. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. 4 week base right now for Chipotle. That's going to be worth keeping an eye on. JD.com. Have an alert on that one. Hasn't been triggered. Transports. Fairly healthy. Atlassian breaking down the 50-day. We mentioned a failure on the 50-day the other day up here, and look what happens to it. Remember that? We talked about that last week. Maybe it was late the week before, but we had a failure at the 50-day. I think it was Atlassian. It could have been another one, but we talked about a short sell, and that was a good short sell right there. Do it, Rob. Screw everybody. That's what I say. Don't listen to any of them. Do what you want to do. There's guys, people that do that all the time. D.R. Horton getting on with the program, looking excellent. Nothing wrong with this price action whatsoever. Big bullish green candles, lower red candles, price action moving in the right direction. Moving averages have diverged since the breakout over here, and it looks excellent. Constellation Brands, STZ, still tightening up against that trend line. That's the type of setup you're looking for. Maybe a nice large break before the market on 10/3 or earnings. That's Wednesday, Thursday. So morning Thursday, Constellation Brands with earnings. That should be an interesting event. Past couple earnings reports. This one gapped up here into a beautiful, nice little bull run. That was one of my better trades of the year. Just that little leg, and then here a nice gap up. Went choppily higher and then gave it all up to the gap. But now we're right back up to recent highs. This whole situation in the past couple earnings reports providing you with a cup and handle. Down about 24%. Sounds about right. And this, I know the uptrend is, quote unquote under pressure, but we've had a couple things move lately. Market hasn't broken down, although let's zoom out on the NASDAQ and kind of a bigger picture. Let me take up this screen here. Give me the weekly perspective. That's what I wanted. That's a rising wedge situation on an index, which means it doesn't mean a whole lot. Yeah, we may resolve this pattern in a little bit. I don't give huge patterns on indexes a tremendous amount of weight. They usually just resolve themselves higher. This one was an ascending triangle here, kind of. That resolved itself higher. And the last really large, I forget why we had those circled. But so here's a head and shoulders pattern that failed to culminate. Because again, it's an index. It has a very, very strong upward bias to it, rather than, a lot of these basing structures leading to bearish action. Everyone's reading an index the same way they would as an individual stock, but it's not the same thing. It's just not. You can see all these bases pretty much lead to, there's a consolidation. That one did lead to lower prices. That's 2008. 2007 high, 2008 bear market, 2009. Everyone says 2008, 2009, but 2009 was a pretty damn good year. It's funny. Yeah, really 2007, 2008, 2009 double bottomed off we went. But that was hard to call that bottom. I remember that. I was a different trader back then. I think I was thinking to buy over this high right here, but I didn't have any money back then. Not really. My money was already tied up in my house. Yeah, so this one would have led you lower, but this one was pretty obvious we were going lower by the time that broke. I don't feel bad, Russ. I'm just trying to remember. That was like 10 years ago. I'm like, what was I doing? Bullish patterns, on the other hand, do usually work out fairly well for indexes if you see a bullish pattern. It's because, again, the market has a very strong upside bias. Here's another big bear market. 1999 1999 bull market, 2000 bear market, 2001, 2002. This one a very steep bear market for 3 years, almost 3 full years. That one a different situation. This one, I actually loosely remember this, although I'm not sure how keen I was on chart patterns back in the year 2000, to be honest with you. But anyway, that one, bear flag, that one I think is fairly ominous based on what we just saw in 2000. But you can see other than that, we've gone back a decade and seen a few bearish patterns, and the only bearish patterns we've seen have had major bad results if they did break. Minor head and shoulders pattern right there with a break of that. This is the 40-week moving average, this bottom one in blue. Break of the 40-week right there. Also, you can use it as a trend line. That one led to much lower prices. Hope we don't get in that situation today. So here's a similar upward sloping trend line. So we got to watch out for the break, but there's not much right now. I mean, there's a lot of bubbles, out there with a lot of economies and stuff, but until we start to see those leaders truly break down, because the thing about 2008 that I remember is all the leaders were they just looked so bad. At least whatever point I'm remembering in my mind, it could be different, but yeah, I would really look for leadership to break down at first. We did see a little bit of that, but you kind of get that in corrective markets. So it doesn't have to mean the end of the world, but you just look at your signals and do what they tell you to do. And they should keep you out of trouble. That's the basis for most of this action anyways, or price action, is to ignore the noise and just look at the price action. The price action will tell you what to do. All right, let's take a look around some of the large caps. We got Amazon. Amazon failing a little bit lower under the 50-day, under all the moving averages right now. So it's had a couple of areas recently where we've been under that. So that is not good price action from a leader. Amazon definitely a leader. Just under $1 trillion market cap. It's a big number. Microsoft, another big number winner. Leader. But still basing. Hasn't broken down. Once it breaks that little trend line, then it'll be in a deeper consolidation. Google. This thing always charts really weird. Look at the weekly chart. It's just odd. Just oscillates up and down, up and down, up and down consistently. The only thing consistent is how inconsistent it generally is. This is a rare type of sideways price action for Google. Year and a half. Beautiful breakout after that. You only had a couple of good opportunities to buy that before it just kept chopping on you again. Chopping on you, chopping down, chopping up. That was a pretty good sequence. That was okay. And then more chop. More big white chop. Berkshire Hathaway, very sideways in its action, which you would argue is fairly bullish for things overall at this stage of the game. Nice sideways price action, just working stuff out. If they're not selling Berkshire, they're not really too worried about too much. And it's not really selling down. Facebook, there's another big one. I knew I was missing one. Facebook still above the 200-day, although it's definitely down near it. Looks a lot more like Amazon than it does Apple and some other stocks. But we'll see. It just dominates this whole social media time that we're in. All right, let's see what's not working today. UGAZ, another deep hit today, 5.73% lower. Doesn't look very good whatsoever. Just hasn't had a green day yet since that weird topping action right there.
It's a candy corn that's been eaten.
A candy corn that's been eaten. Looks good. You should have made like a mouth-shaped curve out of it. Close my door. You can do that once you take the white paper, cut like a mouth thing, like someone's teeth. When you get a sec, can we look at ESNT? Yeah, absolutely. We have lots of seconds, Rob. Yeah, ESNT failed breakout. Failed breakout up there. I got stopped out on this one, and just sitting down back into the base. There's not much to do here until another breakout attempt. unless you see some kind of overt bottoming action. 50 days right here. I'm not sure if this is a test of the 50-day that you want to buy. It's already played with the 50-day. It's got to have a breakout, and then you buy the support of the 50-day after the breakout. You don't buy it in the base. So yeah, ESNT at this moment in time, maybe if we rally up a little bit higher, if you still got a position you want to exit it, you can exit it. Other than that, if your stop hasn't been hit and you're just letting it ride, you got about 7% down here to recent lows. That 50-day moving average is still holding, so that's bullish. But I mean, the other price action isn't. So moved right back into normal garbage, choppy price action. I don't like that action at all. Yeah, not super into that. So do you have any specific questions about ESNT, Rob? Maybe we can look at, oh, you know what? Today's Monday. I'll bet you they'll have a new industry group rankings out. And they don't, because I think it's based on date, and I bookmarked the one for the date, which is stupid. Data tables, industry group rankings. Some horrible URLs here. IBD industry themes? What's that? Oh, that's not what I was looking for. See, I'm not even sure how to get to this thing. These guys just suck so bad. Alright. So that's not going to work for me. Shoot, where is it? Data tables. Okay, there you go. It's in data tables. Okay, so I'm going to bookmark this page now. Alright, industry group rankings. Here we go. Let's check out industry group rankings for a minute. What's up with the high volatility in October you've heard about? Have you heard about this? So October is actually the start of the best, like one of the best months of the year. Stocks do better between October and April than between April and October historically. Historically. Now, the past 10 years history has kind of been blown away a little bit because of technology and stuff. The stock market's a lot more attainable. But that's kind of what that's about. So if you had a little, if that's all you heard about and all you know, that's what I know about that. September's a rough month because people are kind of jostling around, I guess. But there used to be a thing, sell in May and go away. That used to be a thing, but the past several years it hasn't worked. So leisure, toys, games, hobby, which I think Funko would be part of that industry. Number 14, really rising in the rankings from 49 last 3 weeks to 14 this week. Home retail furnishings, restoration hardware, probably a big reason for this rally from 132nd to 21st. It's a huge rally. Got to get all the way down here to see the biggest. This is the day's change, year-to-date change in composite group ranking. I don't think they do a very good job of that, to be honest with you. Specialty retailer. Okay. Computer in the red. Leisure services. Green, but not red, but not blue, but not really climbing the rankings here. Auto truck replacement parts, which would be, I want to say Sherman-Williams, that's the AutoZone, and O'Reilly. And there's going to be some other smaller players too in that industry group. Metals parts distributors? What's PRDS? What's metal PRD? These guys are killing me. Retail department stores, retail industry, jewelry, energy, coal, jumping from 191 to 181, 188. And some dude with a beard. So definitely interesting. Computer software taking a hit today. Oh, products, Rob. It could be. Replacement parts. Metal products, distributors. Wouldn't you put the T there? And why are they limiting themselves to like frickin' 40 characters? Come on. You're killing me here. It's the web. Spell it out. And not to mention, they also Don't use the same acronyms for computer. Anyway, these guys are driving me nuts. They really got to let me be their editor. I'm seriously thinking about applying for the job even though it doesn't exist because there's just some things that don't make sense if you pay attention to IBD. We miss you, William O'Neill. Get young soon. Oh, and they put the S&P indexes down here just for some good measure. Interesting. But you can see the computer industry getting slammed here recently. Computer, taking those profits off the table. Computer. That's usually not a good sign when you have one of the leading industries just on the red list. Oh, computer software desktop. I'm not sure what companies that includes specifically for desktop. There's not too much desktop software these days. Maybe Adobe. That will be desktop software, though they're even moving towards the cloud more and more. Computer software enterprise. Lots of red around computer. Okay, mom's got that. Electronic semiconductor equipment, also red. I'm assuming this would be chip makers. I need to get like a full list of what they do here so I can do my own stuff. All right, hold on a second. Kid's crying. Okay, I'm back. Kid was crying because he had a jacket he liked that was too small for him. We gave it to a neighbor kid, and he's crying because he wants it. Tough to be 5. It really is tough to be 5. All right, so you can see industry groups there. The computer sector really taking it on the chin, and what's leading is kind of weird. Leisure, home furnishings, or at least was leading last week. Desktop software, which is weird. Specialty retail. More leisure services. Auto parts, that should be doing good. And metal parts. Retail, somehow doing good, but staying the same. Retail, wholesale, jewelry, coal. I mean, it's just weird stuff with industry groups. Let's go see what other lists that they've got. Expanding 52-week highs and lows. New highs list. Let's check out the new highs list. It's interesting to see what is new high these days. NASDAQ. Let's check out the NASDAQ. You've got GTS. Let's look at some of these names just for fun. Market 0.4% higher this morning. Get an update. Oh, bounce in about 10 minutes. So nothing crazy today, just an inside day. Let's take a look at this list. Medical sector, GTS. What? Oh, new low. What's the list? New high list? Oh. New highs. New lows. There's no new highs. Oh. It's a... Okay, this website really sucks. I have to click on new high, You don't even give me an underline or a caret or something letting me know it's a thing. That's ridiculous. I gotta get in touch with someone from IBD. Okay, real estate, insurance, banks, utilities, building, savings and loans, retail, energy, apparel, transport. One software, TYL, whatever Tyler is. Apparently Tyler writes software and he's publicly traded. Food, bev, finance, electronics, auto, miscellaneous. There's like 1 and 2 in each of these sectors except for utilities, banks, insurance, and real estate. So really running for safe havens when you have real estate, insurance, and banks as your top sectors. Although banks can be pretty good in a bull market. INVH. So that's good. EQC, HASI, HTA. Record the call. I may do that if I can get a hold of them. They're not going to talk to me. They're too fat and rich. Oh, Realty Income. I'm not quite sure what they do, but that's not the worst looking setup of all time. At least, since 2018, 2019. A little choppy prior to that. MPW, Medical Props. That looks pretty good. Insurance, look, GSHD. Ooh, that's pretty. That's not bad. It's a little flat base or cup or something like that. 27%, a little on the deep side, so that's definitely a cup. And doesn't. Looks like our handle probably would have formed right there. IBD takes the first down week in the right side of the base and makes it the handle. So that would have been your handle. And we're still kind of around there, that area. That's a tough one, though. I'm not sure about the fundamental numbers on that one. SAFT, ACGL. Very nice run for that stock. Arch Capital, ORI, Old Republic, GL, a little choppy. Banks, Unity, fairly choppy, but able to get up. It's got some hops and some drops, apparently. I guess we're at 22 instead of 25. I thought we were up towards 25. BBT, I think they have some of those in Arizona. AUBN, we're looking at banks. Oh, this guy rallying for some reason. RY, Royal Canada, not looking too bad. Inverted Head and Shoulders. FFIN, First Financial, also not looking too bad. Tightening up. Looks like it's trying to start a move. And then utilities, CWCO. Big spike as people look for protection. Look at that volume in utilities. Middlesex Water. Wow. Who knew you could make money selling water to people? OGS for One Gas. Looking really good. ES for Eversource. That's nice. KBH for KB Homes. DR Horton's not on here? Oh, KB Homes working better than DR Horton. OC for Owens Corning. They do insulation. VMC, Vulcan Materials. Also really good. TMHC. Also pretty good. Savings and loans. Now I'm just flying through these. NC, that's been on fire. Also fairly. Oh, look at the. Oh, that's just because of the 5-minute low float. Oh, definitely low float. Average volume is 12,000. That is a minor float. That's a barely recognizable float. Brookfield, that's on fire. It's been on fire all year, straight up, 25 to 40. Pretty good. What is that? BEP? That's energy, whatever that means. NIO down another 11%. I have a feeling, Rob, that you just like watching car accidents. Rocky. Okay, maybe trying to move out of a larger base. This is apparel. Nike is on the same list, broken out. Transports, Wern. And JBSS. Carlisle. It's a big spike up. Looks like it's earnings related. And that's going through that new highs list. I got a bunch of good lists in here. I'll have to go through some of these tomorrow. I'll leave it up here on my stocks profile. Oh, so you just keep coming across car wrecks. It's not your fault, is what you're saying. You don't cause them. You just are a keen observer because you see them everywhere. Yeah, they're just selling this thing off en masse. Crazy. All right, let's go through our actionable list. Then I'm going to bounce, guys, unless you have any specific questions, something you want to look at. CTO, INS, Atlassian trying to find support at the 200. MDCO bouncing back a little bit. Chipotle, that's looking pretty nice as it's in about a 4-week base. Could use a little more rest before a potential move. Who you sold off? PFPT hasn't worked yet. BLD, NXPI, PFPT. Yeah, it's got to bounce eventually. Just not quite sure what shape that bounce takes. Is it like an egg bouncing? There's D.R. Horton working pretty good. Pretty close to all-time highs. All-time highs are 53. It's at 52.58. So it's getting there. Tilra really should be off our list at this point. RealPage still squeezing, looking okay. Actually, at a pretty low area. That's not too bad for maybe a potential test. Sherwin-Williams tightening up significantly here past week or so. Not quite sure why, but it's been really tight action here. Earnings are a few weeks away. But very tight action there out of Sherwin-Williams. That's pretty bullish. EPAM. Disney, Head and Shoulders failed. And I still like Constellation Brand Stars. Earnings are coming up on Thursday before the market, so Wednesday is your last day to be actionable on Stars. Not that you want to be, you don't want to buy before earnings, but I really like how that's setting up right now. It's a nice classical cup and handle base. It's not, there's nothing. It's not perfect, but it definitely meets the criteria. Prior uptrend, cup and handle, resting beneath one of my very long-term trend lines, which I really like these style bases that take a couple of years and just kind of go sideways. Got a little deep to the downside here, but could be a bump and run reversal pattern. In which case, the reversal going through the trend line could be pretty good. Momo. Twitter a little bit lower. Starbucks taking out that lower consolidation. HEI looks like it wants another leg lower too. GLD looks like it also wants another leg lower. AMD still rolling over. Carvana breaking down. Court breaking up. Match.com breaking down beneath the 50-day. MJ's dying right now. That marijuana sector is dying right now. INMD and UGAZ taking it on the chin again. Don't touch this thing with a 20-foot pole. I mean, all the way back down to this breakout point. This is usually not what you'll want to see. I'll keep an eye on it because it is a 3x ETF, and if it gets going again, if it gets a nice rebound, maybe it'll do something good. But if this was a stock, I would have cut it by now. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here today. That's kind of our whole actionable list. We took a walk through a couple of stock lists on IBD. We'll do some more of that tomorrow. I think that'll be fun to do. They've got some other good lists Stocks out of bases. Find your group sector. Oh, that should be fun. Psychological indicators and volume. Top 200 composite stocks. So a couple of good ones. New highs list. A lot of good lists up here. I haven't seen this page on their website before. I used to just look at the paper. Futures charts, futures tables, bond rates, whatever that means. So we'll take a look at that tomorrow. Rob, remind me of that if I forget. All right, guys, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.